Welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. In the last video we discussed how to mill in the lathe. In this video I've just given you some tips on information about some of the things you need to know when milling in the lathe. So let's go into the workshop and see how we do it. Now, after the last video when I showed you how to set up the lathe for milling, I just realised there's some other things that you might need to know. First of all, to set up the compound slide square to the head, I've attached the dial indicator to a 1/2 inch bar so that you can use that to set the jaw of the vice square. And to do that, you just bring the jaw in onto the dial indicator, set to 0, and move it along. It's not a bad guess, was it? At 0. Probably thinking, oh, the indicator's not touching, so pull it back. There we go. 0 at that end. Just about a few tenths over 4 inches. So I know now that my compound slide, which is up here, is square to the spindle. We'll back that off, remove the dial indicator, and it's just a piece of 1/2 inch steel rod. I've milled it halfway across, drilled and tapped it. The cap head holds the dial indicator in position. So we have the compound slide set square to the headstock. The next thing to do is put a milling cutter in the collet, put my spindle lock on, and then tighten up the end mill. It's a 10mm end mill. Now I've tightened the collet up, but I've also tightened the drawbar up that holds the collet holder into the headstock. Now, before you start milling, this is the next problem you have. How do you know where you are with your saddle to your milling cutter? Or how much are you going to mill off the face? There are two ways you can do that. The first way, if you have direct readout, you can just touch your cutter, set it to 0, and you know where the saddle is in relation to the milling cutter and your part. If you haven't got direct readouts, you'll need to put a dial indicator onto your saddle. Here I've got a simple block that comes in. Dial indicator goes in there, and I can set it onto the saddle face so I know my position of the saddle. Now, the hardest part really is putting a cut on, because unlike a milling machine, the saddle is not on a lead screw where you can move it backwards and forwards. You can't use your lead screw, because once you turn your machine on, the lead screw will turn and feed your saddle in. Unless, I think, if you got a Myford, I think they do a hand wheel on the end of the lead screw, where you could probably turn it by hand to put a cut on. And the other thing is, once you put a cut on, there's nothing stopping the saddle pushing back. So you need to use the saddle lock here, move it in to put the cut, lock the saddle. You could also use your power feed. Just engage the power feed, and that will feed the part across the milling cutter. There you can see you can mill on the lathe. It's taken about 1mm off the face, I think I need to get a sharper milling cutter and maybe use some cutting oil. Oh well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Enots Engineering.